Howdy, howdy, fellas. I got a bit of a different thing here. Double video today. I've got the two, are they sister ships, brother ships, Nelson and Rodney. I know the Germans did the thing where they're like, every ship's a boy, so we're gonna call them boys. But I don't. The British didn't do that, right? I don't know. I don't remember. I like the British like naming. Their ships are like ideas, like indefatigable and indomitable and vanguard. Like they're cool. Except Nelson and Rodney are dudes, so whatever. The exceptions here. Um, yeah. So I forgot to say it. YouTube's not gonna know. It's World of Warships Legends. That's what it is. Yeah. So we're in the Nelson. You know what? I don't think I have. It's in the Rodney video. I have the same build on both of these. It's AL Nelson, Big 7, running with scissors to keep the turret traverse up, and then I think I've got AL Colorado and Cunningham on them right now. I've switched the build around a fair amount. Yeah, it's the same as my Warspite build. Yeah, it's AL Colorado and Cunningham to keep the grouping, as tight as it can be. So anyway, I've got Nelson. Here I am. This is on the baby Scandinavia version for lower tiers. I don't mind this, but I haven't played it a lot because since this map came out, I really haven't played a lot at the lower tiers, so I don't really know what I'm doing on this map. I'm kind of playing it more or less like I would kind of a big map, except this side's like a little bit different. I don't know. This Aoba comes in. I had loaded the HE and the Nelson because I'm like, oh, I'll just try the HE, but this is literally why I pretty much start every match with AP loaded on any ship, because if you get that juicy first shot and you have AP, that's the one you want. I had HE loaded, but then hey, I got a Citadel anyway. I didn't know I could Citadel the AO, but I thought it had slightly thicker protection than that. I don't. Again, I've mentioned this before. I kind of know the stuff, and especially on these lower tier ships, I just don't spend a lot of time down here these days, so I just don't remember the armor values for really any of these ships at this point. I probably knew them, in the years ago when I was playing more 5.6 than I do now. So anyway, I guess Nelson can Citadel Aoba with HE. That's cool. Even with AL Nelson, which reduces the pin by 15%. I've mentioned in my Warspite videos that because of a lot of the British short fuse shells, or the fact they don't have amazing penetration anyway, and or the kind of armor schemes that you run into at these lower tiers, that it's like a lot of the ships have that kind of thick citadel, thin everywhere else. Like the shells are either going to penetrate or they're not. 15% difference doesn't often make the difference. It will, of course, sometimes, but it's not like you're going to notice a huge difference in most cases. So yeah, I'm kind of playing off this side. I don't love... I've mentioned this before. We've got kind of 4 battleships on this side and the rest of our team on the other side. Our friendly Gaida goes over and gets yeeted by a cruiser. He just sails right in front of it. The cruiser's got sonar. Come on, dude. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I'm just kind of playing, cat and mouse with this Gneisenau and York behind the island here. The York, so I get spotted. I thought it was the York for a second, then I'm like, oh wait, he can't see me, so it's got to be the Dutch cruiser off to my left. If this Gneisenau comes around the corner my way, I want to be ready for the torpedoes. 6-kilometer range unless he's got something into them, so I'm relatively safe. I could turn out and probably get away from them before they get to me. Nelson's not super fast, but I'm 1 kilometer difference. I'd probably be alright. But here's the tier 5 Dutch cruiser. See if we can take him out. The lower tier ones aren't much of a pain. They only have 1 charge on the plane, so it's not that big of a deal. But because I don't have fight fire with fire on this build, I am running with scissors to keep the turret traverse up, keep the improve the rudder a touch. It's not a lot, but it's a touch. And also, I'm just for the memes, I've got the 15% damage from AL Nelson, and then another 15% from running with scissors. It's why not? Let's just do it all. Let's get all the damage all the time if we're close. Nelson isn't widely regarded as a top tier brawler, but I kind of like it. I've if you've watched any of my other videos, I tend to enjoy a little bit of spiciness in my builds. I don't like to run just the normal bog standard, like, oh, this is the best build for this ship and you're gonna win the most games. I get it. You know, I don't begrudge anyone who would run that. Sometimes I do run that on specific ships, or depending, you know, what kind of mood I'm in, what I'm looking for. But I do like to spice it up a little bit. Nelson has the full frontal turret arrangement. It has the squishy nose, but it's not fast, but it's got a decent rudder and it's got a decent turning radius. And if you can get those guns going, and you can kind of, you know, it's got that 32mm side planing that you can kind of bounce some shells on. I think, is it in this video? I can't remember if it's in one of these matches or one of the other ones. So like I perfectly bounced a bunch of shells on the side, and I was like, ah, man, just feels so good. But anyway, I like to brawl with these ships when the opportunity arises. It doesn't happen often. Oops, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I like to brawl with the Nelson when the opportunity arises. The Rodney, that's like its thing. That's what it wants to do. But the Nelson isn't necessarily, you know, thought of as a brawler. I like to when I can. It's fun. So I've got my build set up to leverage that when the opportunity arises. But I'm also taking mostly long-range shots. You know, I'm not just YOLOing in. And I think that's valid advice for any brawler, any secondary ship, anything that, you know, wants to get in close. You have to do it when the time is right. Easier said than done. I'm certainly guilty of going in too soon myself. Ooh, 6 hits on that Dunkirk. But yeah, I mentioned at the beginning, I normally run AP loaded first. I actually like the AP better than the HE on the Nelson. I know it's got amazing HE. I use it when the need arises. Was it this match? Shoot, I was rambling and I didn't pay attention. Yeah, well, I think it was this match on the Gneisenau. Now I hit him with 2 HE salvos. First one, no fires. Second one, 2 fires that he DCPs. That just happens to me so much. It's so frustrating. I'm trying to set the fires, and I inevitably get that, you know, all the fires, and then none of the fires, none of the fires, all the fires. It's just RNG, but it frustrates me. Nelson has 16-inch guns at tier 6. They're short fuse. So, you know, one of the drawbacks that playing with the big guns down here at the lower tiers is you can get overmatches. You know, overpins. Stuff is not as heavily armored as it is at the higher tiers, so you can run into instances where you're shooting at a more lightly armored target or hitting, you know, nose, stern, superstructure, upper belt, things kind of that nature. Especially at closer range, and you get overpins. But the short fuse on the Nelson actually kind of reins that in a little bit. Sure, you might not get as many citadels in certain circumstances, but I find that I really like it. Oh, that was mine. I was robbed. I was robbed there. That should have been mine. I guess that's payback for all the times that I just sneak one in. So, you know, it all evens out in the long run. But anyway, I really like the AP on Nelson. I think if you're sleeping on the AP on the Nelson, you are doing it a disservice. It is great, great, great. 16-inch guns at tier 6 should not be ignored. Even if the AP is great, you can see I am chunking this Ashitaka. Not the most heavily armored ship, but just putting them right in the nose. I overmatch, you know, HE. Honestly, the HE would do a great job too. But I just like the reliability of the AP. I generally prefer AP in general. I'm going to say I generally prefer it in general. Come on, dude. Like, saying the same thing. Anyway, take him out, finish him off. That's 3. I've got 2 assists. I will say Dunkirk should have been mine. Dunkirk should have been mine, but maybe some of the other ones shouldn't have been. So we have a red guidey on the loose here that's kind of running around. You note, like, his last spotted position is to my northwest, so I'm trying to keep this island in between me and where he was. I honestly have no idea where he is now. He could kind of be anywhere on this map, you know, kind of to the west of me. I just really don't know. It's been long enough since he's been spotted. I haven't seen any torpedoes on me. I've been expecting torpedoes in this zone the whole time that I was dueling that Ashitaka and Dunkirk. Is it a duel if it's more than one against you. I guess the Dunkirk was also engaged on the ships to my south. Anyway, I was fighting those guys. I'll say I was fighting them. Haven't seen any torpedoes. Haven't been spotted for a while now. I don't know where this guy is. So we successfully capped the zone, and we're gonna kind of head out. Basically, I'm looking at it at this point. I don't want to get sunk for no reason. We have a pretty commanding lead. He would get a solo warrior if he won at this point. I don't think he really realistically has the damage to do it. I mean, unless we just really give it to him, I think we've got this. But I don't want to get careless because you never know. So I'm going to kind of head over here. I'm still not spotted, but I am kind of playing around these islands, being a little conservative. Just in case I am, I can nose into an island or use an island for cover, you know, not just eat all the torpedoes in the broadside. So here, yeah, we'll go back to normal speed because that is a Duca d'Aosta, which is quite fast. I think it's, it may not be faster regardless of build, but it's close. And so, hey, here we are. All right, get that shot off. One reason I like the turret traverse, can get those kind of quicker reaction shots. You see a destroyer pop up in the middle of nowhere, and we get it. Hey, that's number 4. So we had a 4 kill match in the Nelson. Not a bad match overall. I've played the Nelson some. I think I prefer the Hood, again, just because of the AP, but I do like the Nelson. It's a fun ship from time to time. I don't play a lot of Tier 6 these days just because I inevitably end up in a Tier 6-7 match, so I might as well play Tier 7. Here's my Rodney stats. This cracks me up. A couple of things. Anyone who plays like 11 games and tells you, like, oh, I got whatever win rate and the ship is awesome, or I got whatever win rate and the ship is garbage, like, nope. I've had some great matches and I've had some terrible matches in this thing. My potential, honestly, I've been solo on a flank multiple times. That potential damage is like off the charts. It's a good ship. It has severe weaknesses. I don't think that this win rate is specifically, you know, characteristic of the ship. I do think it's a good ship, but you can see my damage is lower than a lot of my other ships, but the attracted damage is nuts. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. You can see my build here. It's the same Nelson with Colorado and Cunningham, kind of a pretty standard battleship build. I am running the speed boost just because this thing is mega wicked slow, one of its weaknesses, so we'll get to that. So yeah, here we are on Shatter in the Rodney. I mean, this is a perfect match for the Rodney. You've got all these islands in the middle. Someone's going to get stuck in somewhere, and this is just like the Rodney dream. Whereas the Nelson can brawl, but has its drawbacks. Like, that is what the Rodney wants. Here I'm just doing, you know, the new, let's look at the commanders, and I was like, oh no, our destroyers are fine, but okay, we got a shear on a Bismarck, and there. And I was like, honestly, I don't need to spend my time looking at that. But anyway, the Rodney wants to get in and brawl. It wants to bring those 9 ferocious 16-inch guns with the Soviet dispersion in close. Soviet dispersion means that it's much better the closer you get. I believe it's closer than, oh man, I was gonna look it up, but I forgot. I think it's 11 kilometers, and it gets better. It's funny. This happens. I've known that this is a thing. Like, people on game shows and talk shows and stuff, that like, when you're not in the hot seat, you like, all that stuff comes to your brain so easily. I specifically remember somebody was making another video, and they said the same thing about the Soviet dispersion, and he said it, and he was like, oh, I think it's whatever, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what it is. How could you not know that? Of course. Ha ha ha, I know it. Now I'm making a video, and I can't remember. I think it's 11. But anyway, I think under 11 kilometers you get significantly better dispersion. Past that, it's whatever. I actually still find that the Rodney can hit past that, so it's not like you shouldn't take the shots. But it's much better closer in, and it's brutal when you get it in close. You'll see some of the salvos coming out of this thing, and they are just like perfect. And it's really fun. If this thing was a little faster, I honestly wish, like, maybe leave off the torpedoes and give it a little more speed. Honestly, it might have been overpowered. maybe it wouldn't quite have that like torpedo burst or something. I don't know, but it would be a lot more fun for me if it was just a little faster. And that really is the drawback of this thing. It is quite slow. I can't remember offhand if it's exactly the same as the Nelson, but it's below 25 knots with a speed flag. It is it below? Shoot, I've done the thing. I didn't check the stats. It's very slow. It's certainly below 27. I'll say that. I should have checked. I knew it before I started the video, and then like now I forgot all the numbers. I should have like written it down. You guys are gonna make me do like actual homework to make these videos, because the second I start making it, I forget all the stuff that I like looked at, or just like, oh yeah, I know that, and I start talking about it and I forget it. Anyway, it's slow. You can see right here I'm going 20 knots. I mean, this thing is like tier 5 battleship slow, and that is a significant drawback. One of the things that happens to me in this match is like everyone just runs away. Everyone just runs away from the Rodney because it is ferocious, especially if I get in close. I'm in a sort of great position. You know, this Veneto had been super quick. He might have snuck a shot on my broadside there, but even then, I mean, that's like, he's not going to make that. So as long as like a torpedo destroyer doesn't pop up or something right here, this is you love to be in this kind of middle section in the Rodney if you can. You don't want to show broadside, you don't want to get overconfident. Like, you can still definitely get shot. Oh, hey, Megami. But like this, I love this. I love being able to do this. This is something you always want to do on this map, is kind of bust up this middle section that inevitably ends up like this, that everything's kind of happening around it. You want to cap the middle, but it's a death trap if you go in it, and the Rodney actually thrives in here. These like middle parts, as long as you don't overextend, as long as you don't get pincered by ships on both sides, like, you can rule the middle part of Shatter. So this is a dream come true. I think I think I've seen a couple of other, like the other, you know, official community contributors that put out videos on the Rodney right when it came out and they got it for free, that like, this is a map for the Rodney. It loves being in the middle of Shatter. If stuff wants to push in, if anybody on your team is playing and you don't just get completely collapsed on, this is a great place to be for the Rodney. So I'm pushing through. I actually kind of wish this Bismarck wasn't with me. I wish he was a little bit somewhere else, because what ends up happening is from me and him, everybody else just runs away. We've got a Brandenburg and a Veneto over here. I wanted to kind of sneak around. The Bismarck is faster than me. I mean, he's just over 30 knots and I'm 25-ish. So he's going to beat me and scare everybody away. And they also kind of know I'm coming anyway. I think I'm spotted by the Mirror. So we're just going to slowly go around. But it's also nice because we cap the middle zone and we are completely disrupting their position, and if we ever do get there, we can sink them. So we slowly, very slowly sail around. And this is it. I mean, this my Zeet video, I did this to a Rodney. I've seen this happen to other Rodneys. This has happened to me in the Rodney as I've played it, you know, a fair amount today. It's so slow. Like, it is really a drawback. It's ferocious. It has amazing damage output when you can get in a position to use it. But I've been outrun, outmaneuvered, chasing something around an island. It just gets away, trying to beat something to a cap, and it gets away. Like, it's so slow, and especially for what it wants to do. It wants to be in close. It wants to be shooting stuff on the broadside. Like, all of that stuff that it wants to do, the speed is directly against that. So I have really enjoyed playing the ship, but that is a mega drawback. And you're going to have to play around that, and it certainly keeps the ship from being just completely busted. If you watch my Colbert video about how, that kind of fits the definition of toxic, I don't think the Rodney is as toxic. I think the speed is easier to take advantage of than some of the other kind of quote-unquote toxic ships might be. because it is just so slow, and positioning and maneuvering is kind of part of any battle regardless of what happens. So I think it's a little bit, pretty much any battle that this thing shows up in, that is a weakness that will kind of tone down the rest of its power level. But if it does get into a position that it can actually do what it wants, this thing is really ferocious. And here again, the Brandenburg just ran away. There's I think it's the Johann de Witt is on the other side of this island. And it just runs away. And even though, this has happened, I think my average damage was like 90,000 damage, and it felt like it could have been a lot more. I was so close to oh yeah, like the Bismarck takes out the Brandenburg. This is like the classic Rodney match, because there's so many times that I felt like I could have had like a 200,000 damage game. But everything runs away from you. Every single ship that knows what's up will absolutely run away from you. The Brandenburg ran away and went into 4 blue ships. This Johann de Witt would rather go into the 3 cruisers and destroyer that are in front of me than stay here to fight me. And that's happened to me probably every match that I've played in this. And I think that's worth noting. If you're playing a ship like this that has the amazing power but is super slow and everyone's going to run away from you, like, that's something you're going to have to contend with. I think in a division, this thing might be even more powerful. If I had someone on the other side of this that was like able to work together to force these ships to fight me, that might work a little better. You can see the power of the close range salvo. I've taken shots like that in a lot of other battleships, and they just don't hit like that. The short fuse, the Soviet dispersion, the full frontal turret arrangement, all of that goes together to really make that kind of shot just whack. And it is fun. It really is fun. You can see I kind of aimed back a little bit to try to hit the 2 reasons, to try to hit the weaker armor in the stern, but it's also just based on the shape of the ships. It's going to be a little flatter relative to my shot so that it doesn't bounce. A lot of those Dutch cruisers have surprisingly robust belt armor. I don't know them all offhand, as usual. I know the Haarlem is like shockingly thick. I think the Johann de Witt is maybe not quite as strong. Actually, I think that's the tier 8, and the Haarlem's the tier 7, and the Haarlem might have actually better armor. Somebody was talking about that the other day. Again, I don't know them offhand, but I have gotten a lot of like random bounces and shatters that were unexpected. And yeah, so I was aiming at the stern to try to make sure my shells pin. Did it bounce? Didn't give me nonsense shatters, and we took him out. Here I'm just is this guy going forward? Is this, oh yeah, that you saw I checked his forward momentum velocity with my torpedoes. I've said before, torpedoes are great for that kind of thing. I've mentioned it with like the American cruisers. Right, did I miss it? I get 4 hits. I think I already missed it. I hit him with 4 shells. Like, the accuracy on this thing, even at range, is great. What was I saying? Torpedoes. Torpedoes are great. They're useful. They have more uses. The burst damage prevents stuff from pushing you. Amazing. You can also check, like, the velocities. Sometimes you'll see me, like, zooming in and out with the auto aim. A lot of times I'm just trying to check to see, like, oh, are they moving? Are they not? Torpedoes, you can do that too. So ships that literally don't have torpedoes, you don't have that option. And so it is nice to use it when you have it, and that's what I was doing there. Just check his momentum, or his velocity. You can see like, oh yeah, he's going pretty much full speed ahead, so I need to lead more. It won't always work, they can always change, whatever, but I do like the option. It is a weakness on ships that don't have it. You can certainly overcome it in other ways. But if you have the torpedoes, sometimes it can be useful to use it. So use it. Here, I thought about going to get that destroyer, but I'm looking at the time, I'm looking at the map. We've got the middle spawn, we've got A. He's pretty far away from A. I could chase him, he could hide, he could run away. Again, I'm slow. It's a Merker. He doesn't have amazing torpedoes, so I'm not really that worried about sinking, but I think it's just going to be a waste of time. So instead, I decided to head over here. They had the cruiser and two battleships. I took out the cruiser. So yeah, let's just farm down these battleships. I've got nose in, and this is another instance where the Rodney is very good. Even oh yeah, 14k. God, come on. The shells still work at range, even though I'm not brawling right here. Like, I'm just wrecking these guys. I hit this shot, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a match. I thought I was gonna make a video to post on Reddit of like why I never get a Kraken, because this Amagi, like, so many times I hit him, and he's just like no health. That's twice on the same ship. And it's just like, oh, I guess I just don't get a Kraken. And the Massachusetts too. I thought I was going to get a double strike. Like, he should have gone down. I'm going to get a double strike on the Massachusetts, but the Amagi doesn't. And he doesn't go down. So I'm like, alright, fine. 3 kills. Like, it's enough. It's fine. I don't care. But he doesn't actually get sunk. I managed to sneak it in with 412 damage. And I'm like, oh man, maybe it's going to happen. Maybe this isn't going to be why I never get Kraken. It's going to be the opposite. So let's see. Can I get it? Raise it up just a touch. He's got no health. I just want something. That bad dispersion. Can we get it? Hey! Kraken Unleashed. So yeah, I think that's the first Kraken in the Rodney. Yeah, it's a fun ship. Whatever this is, the hipper behind me is shooting me in the butt. I don't know what he's mad about, or if he's having fun. Maybe. So we'll just speed through the rest of this. He's saying that, like, I don't know. Is he mad? Is he playing? You can never tell. Like, I don't know what's going on. I give him a little cheeky salvo back. It's all good. Like, we won. Sometime I was trying to see if he was on the mic, but yeah, this was a good game. I like this ship. Again, the speed is the real drawback. And the lateral armor. If you shoot broadside in this thing, you're gonna get yeeted back to port, you know, faster than most ships. But you do have the super heals. You've got 4 of them with most builds that people would be running on it. So it is quite survivable if you don't shoot broadside. So not the highest damage, but we get the Kraken, we get the 31k. Fun times, you know, back to back with the 2 brother, sister, whatever ships. They're fun. I like these guys.